Is up, guys? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the OAP podcast, brought to you by your host Brandon, guys. So this is episode 100 officially, officially. It's episode 100, and well, we're here. We're here back at it again. Now, let me talk to you guys for a bit, because if you're watching this on YouTube, you might notice a couple things different, or if you're watching this on Spotify, since the video's on there as well, you might notice a couple different things. A couple things are different around here, and well, I want to kind of get into it. I want to talk to you guys about what's going on, what's been going on, and what the changes are, if that makes sense. So, man, where do I start to begin with, right? So we took a break. I think last episode I posted was April, around March, right? I think that was the last episode that went up on the OAP podcast, Spotify and Apple and YouTube. It was March something, and it was a Spanish episode. So that was the last time that you guys have seen, us. And so it's been a good minute. We took a good break from everything, really. I've been off my social media since like April or something like that. So I just haven't been back on. I've decided to delete my apps, my social media apps. And I'll get into that later on. But first of all, I just want to say I'm freaking excited to be back. I'm pumped. I got some great things that I'm very happy and very excited to be able to do moving forward. So, yeah, I'm just very excited that I'm back recording, because it felt like I wasn't going to get to record again almost. And a lot of that was, during the 2 months of break, Jackie and I talked, right? And if you notice, I'm alone doing this podcast alone now. The setup has changed a bit, not too much, but just a bit. And it's gonna be me doing the podcast alone now, moving forward. So we talked about kind of moving forward. There was a few reasons there, and so some of them I'll share with you, and some of them, obviously they're more personal, and that's not something that I'd like to share. But for example, one of them was that we felt the show was starting to get a little bit repetitive with the content. We felt at times, many times, especially towards the end of I'd say from episode 85 up, 87 up, around there. We were kind of going into a mental block on the content of the show, of where it was going. Obviously me and her had great conversations. We felt like, we had fun, and it was a lot of fun. And some of those episodes were just great content, and some of them were just a little bit too much like of the same content from the previous episode. So we kind of, ran into this wall, right? And so that's one of the things that kind of we talked about, and ultimately came to the conclusion of like, hey, why don't I just do it myself, right? I'll just do this. And that was one of them. The other one was basically, I wanted to try something new, and this is what we're doing. So, and obviously she doesn't mean that she won't ever be on the show again. Of course not. It means that, I'm doing it now, but there will be times where she comes in and does the show with me, and we have that in mind. And obviously, we'll do that later on. But yeah, it's just, came down to that basically, of like, hey, what do we want to do? How do we feel? And this is where we kind of decided to go. So that was one of the things that was one of the reasons why I stopped filming, right? We obviously got left in episode 99, and we had been thinking about what we wanted to do for episode 100. And, you know, uh, we, for episode 100, we really didn't know what to do. We were having a really hard time just, one, our personal life, we were taking care of things and, whatever. Two, it was kind of hard to find a time and place. And obviously we wanted to do something special, but it was just it got very difficult. I say we got very busy more than anything. And that was that, right? So that's why we stopped at 99. And, I'm going to keep those episodes there. And obviously, as we move forward, I'm going to keep adding the numbers. Like this one is, for example, 100. The next one's 101, that type of deal. I don't want to delete everything and start from scratch. I think those are great memories. I loved, some of the episodes we had. I loved, episodes with all my guests that I had, last year. And, all those episodes to me are like memories, right? They're things I can look back at and be like, dang, like, what the hell? Why did I say that? Or what was I thinking? I look kind of weird or whatever, right? So a lot, I'm going to keep those there. But, moving forward, we took the break, right? And I decided to delete social media because I myself was running into, this mental cloudiness, I guess you could call it, or whatever. I just felt very low and down, and I would see things on social media and kind of compare myself to the person that I was looking at or whatever, or the things I was seeing, and wishing I had that and wishing I had, right? So it was just a lot of like this negative mentality that I kind of spiraled into with social media. So I decided to delete social media off my phone. Obviously, I still have the accounts, but then after that, I was determined to focus on just really having mental clarity, because obviously, after me and her like decided to do the show, or kind of me do the show alone, I didn't know what to do. I always had a thought of kind of what I would want to do with the show by myself, but I didn't know what to do. So, that not knowing, and then on top the negative stuff from social media that was affecting me. Obviously, I wasn't in a good space mentally, much less creatively, and so I didn't know what to do. And I said, you know what, since I don't know what to do, I'm not just gonna go out and film something that I'm not gonna like. That doesn't make sense, right? So we freaking not we, but so then after that, sorry, I was looking at the time, because I'll explain more later on. There's a lot that I want to explain in this episode, but I want to bring you guys in and like feed you the fucking tea, if that makes sense. I want to give you guys the insights of what happened. So yeah, I was just blocked creatively. I didn't know what to do. And honestly, guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I'm just gonna be straight up, because this is real talk right now. This is me being 100% real with y'all. Okay, I went down a fucking spiral. All right, and if you haven't noticed, maybe by my cheeks, okay, I gained a little bit of weight. All right, so I gained maybe 20 pounds. No, not 20 pounds. I'd probably say 15 pounds. And then from the time I was so an overall, because last time I weighed, 155, right? And that was right around the time Zale was born. And then from then forward, I stopped going to the gym. So obviously that started affecting me. Not then, but like it caught up, right? And so from then till now, I've gained about 20 pounds. And so I gained a weight, and, it just all fucking spiraled downhill for me for a little bit there, where, wasn't feeling good mentally, wasn't feeling good physically, as far as like how I looked, and how it's still how I look, right? Because I'm like working on it still. So it's taking me some time to like cut the fat off my face and body, but yeah, I gained the weight. So I started feeling bad, which then I made which then I felt bad emotionally, right? So it was just like this whole fucking thing came over. And that's not to say that, like, you know, to feel sorry for myself or anything like that, but that's just like the reality of what happened, right? And so obviously when that started going on, much less that I think about the podcast then, right? Because I was thinking, I need to get back in shape. I need to start working out. I need to get myself back together. I wasn't even thinking about the podcast. And it got pretty bad to the point where honestly, I was thinking to myself, what if I sell all my equipment, right? What if I sell everything I have? I don't know if I want to do the podcast anymore. I'm kind of scared to do it by myself. If what am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? And, time progressed, or March, April, right? May. And that's kind of how I was feeling throughout the time. I wasn't doing absolutely nothing besides working and coming home and, doing some things with my family, and then fucking sitting down and eating a bag of chips, and you fucking going out to Culver's and, Subway and all these places, right? So it wasn't good, and that's, March, April, May, and then we're in June, right? Well, towards the end of May, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this podcast, I need to get my stuff together and like really sit down and figure out what I want to do, and actually film, at least record and get the feeling for it. So I did. That's exactly what I did. But everyone knows this, right? You guys probably know this more than I do, and probably know this as well. Like, if you want to get good at something, you got to kind of keep working at it, right? Or if you want to achieve a goal, whether it's like now that my goals now is like losing weight, getting back into podcasting, and there's some other things I'm working on, but now it's like, got to do it consistently. And so I started working out here and there, wasn't too consistent. I tried doing this 75 hard, program thing, and it wasn't successful. I quit after the third day or whatever. I tried it again, quit again. So it was just like this quitting mindset all around for me, and it was just like bad, right? So then I was like, obviously my great wife, Jackie, we sit down and talk and everything, and she's like, you really need to get back on your horse. Like, like this is not who you are. You need to really do what you want to do and like actually go and do it. Don't say you're just going to do it and not do it. Cause I told all my friends, right? Everyone, oh yes, I'm doing this, 75 hard, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Right. And then I wouldn't do it. Right. Or I would do it for one day or two and then quit. So like, I wasn't doing really anything. And honestly, that made me feel even worse because I would start it and then I would quit. Right. So I don't know if you guys have ran into that, but shit, that happens to me quite often, like especially when it comes to like goals, right? Like, I don't know. It was just one of those things. And then, so then towards the end of May, I was texting with a friend and he's like, hey, when is episode 100 coming out? And you know who you are. You asked me not too long ago. But anyways, first of all, cheers. This is my wife's SpongeBob cup. She let me borrow it because she's nice. Oh, that's good. So, anyways, this friend texted me. He's like, hey, when are you going to drop episode 100? And then I told him, oh, I already started, next week or whatever I said. Didn't end up happening. But I did film 3 episodes, right? And kind of the format of the show that I wanted. I not practiced it, but I filmed it in that format. So it was a little, the first one, I recorded it and everything. And then I went to edit it and didn't like it. Right. And I was like, oh no, this is trash. Like, this is bad. And if anyone that knows me, right? Anyone that knows me personally knows that when I do something, I like to do it the right way. I want it to look good. I want it to feel good. I want it, that's just like, I'm a very detail orientated person when it comes to like, the things that I'm doing for either someone or myself, right? Like I'm very, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know what you would call it, but I'm very detail oriented. I want to make sure everything looks good, and we want to make sure everything feels good, sounds good, that type of stuff, right? So, yeah. So then I recorded it, and I was like, I didn't like it. I was like, that's terrible. That's a bad episode. Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about. So deleted it, right? Then took a break again. And then I recorded once again, right? And that episode, what happened to that episode? I didn't like, again, I didn't like it. Something was wrong with it. I think maybe the sound was wrong with it. I don't really remember, but it was a sound or something that I didn't like. So deleted it, right? Then this third episode, I was listening to it and it just didn't sound like me, if that makes sense. It sounded like I sounded as if I wanted to be someone else, if that makes sense. And I think there for a bit, I did want to be someone else. I wanted to be like some of the podcasters that I watch, which, may not be bad, but with podcasting, anyone knows this, you kind of have to find yourself and then be yourself, right? Like no one's going to want to listen to a guy who tries to impersonate another person, right? Unless you do, then that's all, good for you. But I was like, man, I don't know, that's not really myself. I don't really feel like I'm being myself. I'm kind of trying to be this person I'm not, and I didn't like that, so deleted it. And yeah, I after that I was like, okay, what do I really want to like do, right? And again, these negative thoughts came like, do you really want to do the podcast? Like all these doubtful thoughts. Why do you want to do the podcast? Do you really want to do it? I mean, what are you going to talk about? All mind games, right? And I'm sure some of you guys deal with this. So if you guys are relating, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So, there, then I was the same guy, the same buddy texted me. He's like, hey, when is episode 100 dropping? I thought you were going to drop it already. And I was like, yeah, but I just didn't like it. And, if I'm not going to like it, then I'm not going to post it. Like, it's just not going to happen. And then he was like, you're too hard on yourself. I was like, I need to be like, if I'm not hard on myself, then anything I do will not be like at the best I can do it, right? At the best of my abilities, which has costed me a lot in the past. And I'm talking about like, it's costed me work. It's costed me stress. It's costed me money. It's costed me a lot of things because I don't give it the attention or the detail that whatever I'm doing needs, right? So that's kind of how I came to the conclusion of like, okay, well, I'm going to be doing this, so I need to, really figure out myself. And so then I took that break, right? And now we're here in June 11th, right? So that probably March, April, May. Probably around May 29th is when I filmed the last episode or something like that. And then, hey, babe. So May 29th was around the last time I filmed the episode. And then from then till today, or this recording, I've just been really working at getting myself back up and, just picking myself back up and actually going and doing the things that I, need to do and know that would be good for me. Like, this is my second week. It'll be a week tomorrow, I think, or it was a week today, that I've been working out twice a day, right? I'll go in the mornings and then in the afternoons. Not eating super clean yet, but like I'm starting to eat cleaner, if that makes sense. So I'm working out, getting myself back in shape because your boy has some lonjas on him. This is the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And let me tell you, it feels terrible. I hate it. I mean, I just feel like shit all the time. So I've been doing that. Obviously, I'm back recording now with more of a clear and more creative mindset, which I think is gonna, be good, obviously for the show. So yeah, and really just kind of, nailing down what I want to do and my goals for the year. Because obviously I started the year on a very high note, like things were booming, blah blah. But then obviously, kind of went downhill after that downhill after that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Also, if you haven't noticed, I shaved my head. Literally, guys, one night. Well, I've been wanting to do this for like 2 years now. I've been wanting to shave my head completely bald for 2 years. So one night, this was probably 2 months and a half ago. It's like 12 p.m. Right? I'm showering, and it was like a regular Wednesday, and I just grabbed the freaking, what do you call it? The clipper? Is that what you call it? The clipper? And I just went to town on my head. So I freaking, with the zero, boom, shaved it like Joe Rogan style, shaved like bald, guys. No hair, shiny fucking top. I'm talking shaved. And I walked out because Jackie was in the living room, and I showed her, and she's like, "Oh my God, what did you do?" And I said, "I shaved my head. That's what I did." And I did. Now you may be asking, why did you want to do that? Well, back then I wanted to do that because I was in shape, right? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna look kind of cool with a shaved head. I'm a little bit fit, so I'm gonna look badass, right? Well, that kind of changed. The motive changed. And this last time I did it because I was like, I want to do I kind of want a new start. I want to, you know, how can I do this? Or how can I say this? I want to like feel different, if that makes sense. So I freaking shaved my head, and it did make me feel different for a little bit, but then I didn't do anything after that. Again, it's this like talking and not doing, right? And first of all, everyone hates a person, right? Who talks but does not walk, right? So I don't want to be that person. That person is terrible. I don't want to be that person at all. So I want to do the talking and the walking, if that makes sense. So I shaved my head with the, motive of like, I'm going to be a new person. I'm going to start working out, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, haven't done nothing. And, I actually enjoyed being bald because it feels nice. Not only does it feel nice, but it also, you get a sense of like, I don't have to do my hair, and which is nice. Um, and you just feel the cool breeze on your little top head, and that's badass. I liked it. I actually really enjoyed it, but it's grown out a little bit. And I went with my barber, and he kind of cleaned me up a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown of what happened, right? Basic point, okay? Long story short, after episode 99, things went downhill for me. Jackie and I decided that I was going to do the show alone. And I didn't start anything or did anything for a good 2-3 months. And now we're back at it. That's kind of the rundown. So you guys may be asking, now for the juicy, exciting part, right? This is like what I've been freaking excited about since starting this recording and for the past couple of days, is you may be asking, well, Brandon, now that you're recording again and that you're going to be posting again, what's the show all going to be about, since Jackie isn't going to be a host anymore or a co-host, So here's what's going to happen. Let me take a drink because my throat is a little bit dry. Hopefully you guys are having a good day, though, whenever you're listening to this. Okay, so here's what's going to happen, right? Moving forward, guys, this is kind of the format of the show that I'm thinking. Obviously, it can vary. It can change. depending on how I feel the show's going, how you guys respond to it, what if you guys end up liking this format more than this other one or whatever, it can change, but we'll see. We're in like the baby stages right now, right? We're in the trial. This is like, if you're going to film a show, this is like your freaking rough draft, right? So that's where we're at, rough draft part. And I want to bring you guys with me. This is going to be badass because I feel like we're going to fucking grow together, hopefully. So, first thing first, the show won't be an hour long anymore. Some of you may be happy, some of you may be sad, right? But the show won't be an hour long anymore. Obviously, if I was to talk for an hour by myself, that's a long time. I don't want to kill your ears and, make you go deaf with my voice, although it's very angelic or horrible. I don't want to do that to you guys. So the show is, going to be about 30 minutes long. Could be less, like 25. Could be more, like 40, right? So we'll see. We'll see, obviously, my intent is obviously to have Jackie in here once in a while, right? My intent obviously is to bring on guests whenever, things are a little bit more stable with this project, this new project. Because obviously I love having guests. I love having those conversations. So yeah, but for now, it's going to be myself. So the show is intended to be about 30 minutes long, right? Next thing, there's going to be 2 episodes per week that are going to be releasing. That's my promise to you guys and my goal to you guys. And that's where we're at, right? That's what I'm going to be trying to give you guys every week. And those days that those shows come out will be a Monday, right? Excuse me. And a Wednesday. So it comes out Monday morning, comes out Wednesday morning, right? Hopefully that gives you guys a good, little bridge so you guys can listen to something at work if you guys are listening to this. So that's the first one. Excuse me. So that's the second one. I'm sorry. Third, the format of the show is obviously, I've been thinking about this, but I don't know yet. I have to see how it works out. But what I'm thinking about doing is, pulling up some stories of the recent news and talking about them, giving you guys my thoughts, having a kind of a conversation about kind of what's going on with certain things, whatever story that intrigues me that I'm like, oh, that's an interesting story. We're going to read it together. We're going to talk about it and we're going to see what happens, right? So that's some of it. The other part of it is obviously talk about my life, like I just did, what I'm going through, what I've been up to, what I'm working on, hoping to kind of push you guys to do, something in your life for yourselves too, if that makes sense. So that's the other one. And yeah, we'll see how the feeling is, right? If I don't know, I might do like one episode, like kind of what I did throughout the week or whatever, or whatever, or like if a thought comes up in my mind or whatever. And then the other episode, like talking about stories on the news and, whatever. So we'll see what happens. It's just a lot of it depends. Like I said, we're the rough draft part of this. So we'll just work it out, feel it out, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with the show. And that's kind of basically it, guys. I mean, I'm excited to be back. I hope you guys are pumped for this new chapter in OAP podcast. I'm very excited in this new chapter in OAP podcast. I have a lot of cool like plans that I want to do with this show. I'm not going to say what those are because you guys will see hopefully very soon. But I'm just excited to get back into this because there for a second I was really thinking about quitting completely and not doing anything with social media related content. And, that would have been, I think, a really unfortunate decision if I was to make that decision, because I think that I started this because I actually enjoy doing this, and I lost that enjoyment for a minute because I just kind of, you know, felt like I don't know, I kind of gave up on it really myself. And so now we're back at it, and I'm very pumped because, with me doing it alone, although, I love doing it with my wife, with me being able to do it alone now, I think that it gives me a little bit more creative accessibility with certain things I want to add or certain things I want to take off or things like that, right? So we'll just see what happens. But nonetheless, I appreciate you guys for all the support. I appreciate you guys, for everything, really. I really am thankful that I'm able to do this, thanks to my beautiful wife, thanks to you guys, because if I don't care if it's just one person that listens to this, if there was 0 people listening, I might have actually quit, right? But because I know that there's 1, 2, 3, whatever people that listen to this, it keeps me going for sure. So I really appreciate you guys for that. And we'll see what happens later on. But this has been episode 100, guys, with your host, your friend, your buddy, Brandon. And go check us out on Instagram at the OAP official, Brandon A. Lara. Check us out on YouTube, Once a Project Podcast. By the way, none of the name is changing. All that is staying. It's literally going to be OAP Podcast, Once a Project Podcast, as always. So anyways, go check us out on YouTube, Once a Project Podcast, Spotify, Once a Project Podcast, or just look up OAP and it should pop up. Make sure you subscribe, guys. Helps a ton. Make sure you follow on Spotify, whatever, on Apple Podcast, and you share it to a friend, right? If you guys, are hyped as I am, share it to a friend. Tell them this guy, he's going to come out with some fire content. Make sure you're on the lookout for him. So share it with some friends. And give it a review, give it a review. Leave comments in the comment section down below in the comment box. Tell me what you think. Tell me what I should add, what I shouldn't add, what I should take off, whatever. If I need to go bald again, tell me. Or if I should let my hair grow out, tell me. And we're in this together. So anyways, see you guys. Love y'all and take care. Bye-bye.